specific policies or reforms under the 14th five-year plan do you believe were most instrumental in exceeding key socioeconomic targets, particularly in areas like urbanization and average life expectancy?
Assalamu alaikum, Ahmed Wasalam. Thanks for having me.
It was a pleasure.
And this is a very good question. China's success in achieving urbanization and public health goals during the 14th five years plan lies not only in the strength of top-down policy implementation, but also in the governing philosophy that treats society as an independent whole. So, echoing the Confucian ideal of good governance begins with ensuring the people are well fed and settled. The government restructured the whole coast system, integrating over 22 million rural migrants into urban areas from 2021 to 2023, thereby granting them access to public education, healthcare, and housing. And at the same time, China has been increasing their R&D research in material science, medicine, AI machines, EV cars, and elderly care service, placing emphasis on dignity in aging population, aligned with our Chinese philosophy to respect our older generations. So that's why the 14th five years plan was not just a technocratic roadmap, it also reflects China's enduring belief that the legitimacy of a state lies how it protects life, nurturing well-being, and maintain social harmony across generations in the future.
Sir, how sustainable is China's projected economic scale of 140 trillion yuan by the end of the 14th five-year plan, especially given ongoing external challenges and a focus, of course, on domestic demand?
In our Chinese philosophy, we have a term called orderly development, which means to develop our economy and our nations step by step with a long-term strategy. A long-term that blinds legalist planning with Taoist system is our Chinese philosophy. So as of 2024, China's GDP stand at 126 trillion yen, with an annual growth of 5%, 5.3% growth, and domestic consumption contributing over 82% to the figures. So this is a dual circulation strategy just to stimulate our economy, internal economy and external economy to the outside world. So let me give you a
An
very
example.
Chinese philosophy.
Yeah.
Internal strength leads to external stability. So that's why the Chinese government has been taking care of 1.4 billion people on this planet.
And what are the key mindset shifts that China's foreign ministry believes the EU needs to make regarding their trade relations?
So first of all, the Chinese government and the Chinese people has no illusion or imagination about the Western world, especially EU or USA anymore, because we have lots of political differences and tensions. But however, in our Chinese perspective, we have a phrase called harmony in difference. So that's why our Chinese government has called the EU to respect us before making any commercial deals. So basically, even though we have lots of political, socio-political differences, we believe that we may have lots of peace talk and win-win collaboration in a very short term, in a very short term in the future, because we have one opponent right now, and that is the uh, USA under Mr. Donald Trump.
What specific EU policies or rhetoric are they primarily responding to?
So China's response to the EU is rooted in the bottom line thinking, a concept drawn in both ancient military doctrine and modern political risk management. So the EU's carbon border adjustment mechanism, for example, is interpreted not just an environmental initiative, but as an economic leverage to exclude competitive Chinese goods. So that's why the Chinese government has been striving for mutual benefit and equality instead of a zero-sum game.
Looking ahead to the upcoming EU-China bilateral summit, what are the most contentious points in the economic relations and what are the realistic outcomes we can expect from these discussions?
The upcoming summit will face three core tensions. The first one, green technology rivalry between China and the EU, and data governance and politicalized regulations. And China leads the world in EV cars and solar export and even material science, yet face tariff and scrutiny in Europe and even USA. EU leaders argue that this is to preserve fair competition, but of course, from the Chinese perspective, we do not think so, right? So the China counters that these measures reflect a fear of comparative advantage, not actual market distortion. So that's why China in 2025 is really different from China in 2016.
And what specific external shocks is Prime Minister Li Qiang referring to when he states that China's economy is fully capable of withstanding them? What mechanisms or strengths give China this resilience?
First of all, we, the Chinese people and the government, love making peace. But at the same time, if there is an external threat, we unite together and fight against our opponent, just like as our Chinese national anthem has said before. But China is fully capable of withstanding external shocks. So that's why China has been working closely with the BRICS country, with Global South, especially Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Turkey. So China deep institution and civilization resilience. So we have a 5,000 years of Chinese civilization. We could survive without the United States of America in the past. So we can also survive in the future.